Hey there, YouTubers. Right. So this is my Cinebench R23 compilation of 12th and 13th gen Intel CPUs that I have done benchmarks on. There's a couple on here that I hope to get, and I've put what approximately the score appears to be for them. Now, this is using pretty much defaults except power limit set to unlimited, so none of these were overclocked. Of course, overclocking can add to the score. So let's just start, I guess, at the very top, the i9-13900kf that I still own. Bench this in a Gigabyte UD Z690, 32 gigs of RAM, 5200 megahertz, D5. Got a score of 40,114. Now, I've had some higher scores, lower scores, been all over the place. You know, this CPU, hard to keep cool. I've had a different... tried all kinds of different CPU coolers. Best luck was with water cooling AIOs like the 280 millimeter or the 420. And this is definitely my favorite CPU, but, with the cost of having it is also the cost of keeping it cool, right? So now, underneath that is a CPU I plan to get in the near future, the i9-13900F. It appears that would bench out at about 32,000. That's a lock CPU, and that is pretty good in comparison to everything else on here. Now, one that I did have was the i7-13700K. One of the benches I did was an Asus B660M, 16 gigs of RAM, 3600 megahertz D4, scored 2952. And the reason this is red is it thermal throttled. So who knows? Maybe the score could have been higher. But oddly enough, you'll see I did this again with a Z690 and had a lower score. I9-12900ks. Currently, this is my second best CPU that I have because I got rid of the i7. Benched at an Aorus Elite AX Z690, 32 gigs of RAM, 5200 megahertz, DDR5. That scored out 28,214. However, it had a current EDM limit throttling. Who knows? Would that have been higher? Now, another i7-13700kF1, this time in the Z690 motherboard, scored 28,210. And interesting enough, that is with slower RAM and, not as good a motherboard. Another CPU I got recently, though it's been out a while, the i9-12900kF in the Z690, 32 gigs of RAM, 5200 megahertz, DDR5, scored 27,073. And then also ran that again with slower RAM at 26,991. Only a little bit higher than what I achieved with the i5-13600kF in a Z690. Now, another CPU I'd like to get for the channel, the i7-13700F. Right now, I think those are about 380. And it looks like it would score out about 24,000. So right in that range of the i5-13600kF. Now, another run with the i5-13600kF and an Aorus Elite AX B760M motherboard with DDR5 RAM scored 23,826. Using a crappier motherboard like the Gigabyte B660M DS3H with D4 RAM, it scored 23,710. So not much of a difference there. But with these motherboards, there is about a $70 difference in price, 180 to 110. Going over to the right column, this is where the scores really start to drop off, folks. i9-12900, which I just recently sold it and was able to buy the i9-13900ks. It scored out at 22,218. So you can see benchmark-wise, i5 is superior to it. The the i7, the locked i7, superior to it. Now, this is before I really started to keep track. i5-12600K, unknown Z690. I think that was my ASRock. That was the ASRock Pro RS was the first Z690 I got. And one of the first CPUs I got was the i5-12600K in the 12th Gen. That scored 15,955. Recently, 3 weeks ago, i5-13400F in a Gigabyte B760M DS3H. This is about $119 motherboard. Scored 15,859. So almost the same score as the 12600K. Now, i7-12700F. Once again, probably the ASRock Z690, 14,000. i5-12400. We're, dropping even more, 12,047. So just in this, you can see the improvement between the i5-12400 and the 13400. That is what, a 25% increase, maybe more than that, 33% almost. Somewhere between 25 and 33% increase in score between these two. So that's pretty significant. The i3-13100F. Here's interesting, though. This was not much better than the i3-12100F. You can see only 200-point difference. And then rounding it out, the Pentium 3701 and the G6900 Celeron. So except for those bottom two CPUs, all of these make pretty good gaming CPUs. And obviously, price-wise, anywhere from the low hundreds all the way up to the 600s. And if we had, another one, I'd like to get the I9-13900ks, which would be probably about 41,000 score, but about $750 right now. So thanks for checking out the video, folks. I will update in the future as I got more CPUs, and maybe not do as much talking about it. Maybe we'll just flash up the score, what was in the computer, and the score and all that stuff. Thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.